What's up people, your boy Jordan back with another video, guys. We are watching, apparently this modern woman's gonna get red pilled in this podcast show. Just Pearly Things. I mean, I rate this woman so much, man. Just Pearly Things. I feel like she covers the whole kind of spectrum between modern men and modern women. But most of the time she does back the men. She does back the modern men, because I feel like there are some modern women out here that are so delusional, and you know, they only settle or believe in certain aspects of the modern world because of what another woman has said. They don't really tend to listen to the man, and I feel like she kind of balances the podcast show out. So big respects to her and her podcast show. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get straight into this video.
Had it before, so that is quite a high number.
Yeah.
So given that, you could imagine that these women in their 30s, they have been sexually active.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that in those situations, mistakes would have happened.
Right. Well, and you'd also think about, because the other half, that's their first abortion, but will they come back in the future? So it's really, I don't know what the percentage would be if you include, like if we resurveyed the same group of women, but I don't think they gather data like that.
Yeah, but I'll be crazy to find out though.
Yeah. Because it really, like, again, every girl that I know that's had an abortion personally, like, they were just irresponsible. They weren't on any form of birth control. They're sleeping with a guy they couldn't see a future with. And then it's the, Rollo Tomasi says it's the ultimate form of hypergamy. And
this is the thing. Modern women out there, you're having sex with all these guys, or one particular guy that you really like, and maybe you're just sleeping around with him because you're attracted to him sexually, right? But you don't actually see a future with him. You end up getting pregnant. What happens? You start to worry, fear comes in, and you get an abortion. Now, with all these new laws and everything about abortion now, it's not looking good, man. It really isn't looking good. For me, when it comes to abortion, I feel like under kind of like, there are certain things that I believe you should be able to get an abortion with, like rape, or, you know, I should really use another word. But yeah, that should really be a kind of exception. Anything accidental with your other half, or anything accidental with another man, and you sexually consent and kind of get hit, you know, you kind of give him the permission to have sex with you, I feel like you shouldn't be given the abortion, because that's your own irresponsibility. You're not accountable for your actions. That's why I don't get annoyed, but I'm like, I see a load of these modern women out here sleeping with all these guys, and don't get me wrong, like, guys, they like to tease, man. They like to really tease and get into your head. But you can still be responsible as a woman, or as a younger teenage girl, like 18, 19. You know, you have to be responsible. And that's why women have to be more grown. That's why mentally you have to be more grown, because there are men out here that will take advantage of you and will only purely even, you know, discuss or have a conversation with you because you may be a very attractive. That doesn't mean that he has his, you know, great intentions for you and wants to be with you. You know, he may just want you sexually. So you have to be switched on out here and be responsible. Who you're sleeping around with, what kind of protection you're wearing, all these things come into play. And if you're literally having sex and you're unprotected and you don't see a future with this person, that's very irresponsible of you to be doing things like that. So for me, one side, abortion, there is an acceptance to that, but on the other hand, if it comes down to irresponsibility, then that's on you at the end of the day, you know?
Shout out to the GOAT. For real.
I know, why do women do that though? Like, why? No, I'm not saying all women do that. Let me take that back. But then it's like, why do some women sleep? It goes back to the question of, why are some women sleeping with guys that they don't see a future with? Like, that came back to what you said before earlier. Guys are out here ignoring the red flags. Like, why are you ignoring the red flags? You're doing this to yourself, type of thing. And then when it comes to the point of going back to today's topic, abortion, I couldn't feel sympathy for you because you put yourself in that position.
So I think this
You
starts
put yourself there.
I think it begins with the family, and the nuclear family has been under decrease for years now. So as you can see, as the family starts to break apart, like to give an example, the reason why a guy would have to ask for a father to marry his daughter, because that guy the father would often check, is this man worthy of my daughter? Does he have the right characteristics of a man to raise a successful family?
Even the uncles.
Then you have the brothers and the uncles as well. But this idea of, oh, I'm independent, I can do it alone, I don't need a man, men are trash, etc., etc., just reinforces these negative aspects, because I think women are quite naive. Like you don't understand men to the capacity that other men can understand men. And I also say that men understand women, then other women understand themselves. Why? Because men have to pursue women. So we have to understand how you behave in order to successfully court and date and get women. So with that, when you have brothers and men in your life and you ask them questions, they will give you objective answers to help you understand the situation that you're in. So like my sisters, for example, they would often come to me and say like, this boy's making me feel this way, like what's going on? And I can explain that to them. And I'm sure that that's helped them out of countless unnecessary situations.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
Like I started telling my dad about the guys I'd like go on dates with or whatever, and I would just give him stories and let's just explain them to him. And like guys are so perceptive and they just understand men quicker than we can.
100%.
But it only
100%.
helps if they listen, though, innit? That's the thing.
That's the thing. With men, we are very good listeners. We're very, when it comes to conversation, we engage in conversation and we listen, we think. Whereas women, they act off their emotions. So that is why it's so hard for women to understand men, because we are completely different creatures, if you want to put it that way. But men are definitely way more understanding of what women want in an overall kind of chart. I'm not talking about the relationships you have. I'm not talking about the boys, the girls that you know. I'm talking about an overall aspect of things. Men understand women more or even better because we are listeners. We don't tend to act off our emotions and, want to cause havoc. And, we're not emotionally attached to things, to conversations. We are more invested and more kind of listeners. So like he said, that is why we understand women more than women understand men. But I'm pretty sure there are women out there that do understand men, but again, in the overall scale of things, that's how you've got to look at it.
And that's the thing.
Until you actually like listen to what a guy is saying. And I've realized in my only experience anyway, like I think the only women that actually understand men are women that have had like
Men
two
in
or
their
more
lives.
brothers.
Yeah.
Or like you see what I'm saying? Because it's like if you're forced to grow up with someone, like I got two sisters, you got two sisters, right?
And you get those girls, you get those particular girls that hang around with boys. Like you may call her an S word, and you know what I'm talking about, right? You get those particular girls that hang around with men more than they do girls, right? And it's like, I feel like the girls that can't accept the fact that one of their friends just has loads of guy friends, they get jealous of that, because women again like the attention, and the fact that a girl can understand what men want and kind of be around them and understand that it's cool, like you can just chill. I feel like certain women get jealous of that because they don't have the traits to do that. Because there are certain girls and women out there that have the ability to just chill with guys and like get on with guys better. Yeah.
At one point, I was living with my two sisters and my mum, so I got 3 women in the house. So I have no choice but to almost understand women, because it's like, why is she getting emotional? Why is she like this? What, so I gotta force myself,
No, it's interesting you say that, because I always say I can tell the difference a lot of times between girls that grew up with brothers and grew up with sisters.
Can you actually?
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is?
It's I've just noticed girls that grow up with brothers often are like more tomboy, less drama.
A bit more switched on to certain situations. A bit more aware of the surroundings.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not always. I'm not saying I get it 100% of the time, but
so true.
True. It's interesting you say that, because I grew up with 5 brothers, so it's like I feel like
your family's like a football team.
Yeah. It's a bunch of tall gingers.
Project Mbappe and that.
So another thing. So in 2017, Northern Ireland, a funding scheme introduced to provide funded abortions in England, Wales, and Wales for residents of Northern Ireland. In cases of hardships, travel costs are also covered. Funding is provided by the Government Equalities Office and HM Treasury. Do you guys think that we should be publicly funding abortions?
No.
No,
Publicly.
Yeah.
that's
just like the easy way out, isn't it?
Yeah.
They see that, they're like, oh, it's
Way
free
too
anyways,
easy.
let's just go.
Yeah.
My travel's covered. It's covered.
So
Let's
it's
just
interesting
go.
because you're pro-choice and you
Yeah.
still agree that it shouldn't be publicly funded.
It shouldn't be public. My answers are changing now, like as I'm getting educated.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But like, yeah, no, it should not be publicly funded.
no, I agree. It's
At
like,
all.
Because why do I have to pay for her bad
Yeah, no,
decisions?
no.
Like, why do
Yeah.
I have to pay for that?
Yeah.
it's like what Paul was
That's
telling me.
bad.
Exactly
Imagine if
what
that
Paul was
happened.
telling me
Oh my
earlier.
days,
Like,
the uproar.
you decided to sleep in bed at 2 a.m. in the morning with this guy. Why am I now paying for what you decided to do? Me, I was sleeping at 2 a.m. You decided to go be with a man. Look what it put you. Look what it put me. I got a good night's.
That's almost like benefits all over again. It's like, don't get me wrong, benefits help younger people, and it does help people, like especially single parents and all those kind of things there. But in particular, the ones that are just lazy and they don't want to work, like they just want to live off benefits. Like, imagine having to pay for someone's bad decision, man. Like, that would just be the uproar. I think I would end up joining that rally, man, because it's like that. Now you're just taking the piss, you know. Like, I've got to pay for a really bad decision that you made. Like, come on.
You're there panicking about your future. That's the difference. Like, so why do
Me and you
sleep-
are not the same.
Exactly. Me and you are not in the same boat, bro. I'm sleeping.
They should make that
and
to a meme.
Me and you are not the same. I'm sleeping, and you're there panicking. Oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. What do I do? No. Take it back 2 weeks ago. What was you doing at 2 a.m. in the morning? Exactly. So you got yourself to thank for that. And on the topic of should it be publicly funded? No, we shouldn't, because once you give something free to the public,
They abuse it.
it's going
Yeah,
to be
Abuse it.
abused.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I was looking at the numbers. So abortion numbers, England and Wales from 2010 to 2020. Ish, can you pull up it's the first link in the Google Doc. And if you scroll down, go to figure 2.1. Go down, scroll down. Yeah, scroll down. It should 2 key points in 2020.
Cool.
Do you see that? Yeah. So when NHS made abortions publicly funded, you see in 2016 it was 190,000 abortions per year. It's what is that, like 215,000? So you see how
That's just abused, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it's too far.
So that's like specifically when they made it publicly funded.
Look at that.
That skyrocketed
Oh my
up. You
God.
can just told us to
All
skyrocket
right,
it up.
so 2016 they made it publicly funded.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see the
Or
skyrocket.
2016
Yeah.
or 2017. I forgot what I
Okay.
said.
That's the kind of thing that makes you start thinking
Wow.
if conspiracies
Wow,
are real in terms of
wow, wow,
population
wow.
control.
This is okay. This is what we're gonna. This next part. Okay, so and this is the next part that I was
That
going
is
to talk about.
interesting,
So in
man,
the
honestly.
U.S.,
Like-
one of the number one abortion providers is. Do you guys know what it is?
Is it the government?
Planned Parenthood.
Oh wow.
So Planned Parenthood, it's one of the number one abortion providers in the U.S. And I wish I had an American on the panel because they would know how big Planned Parenthood is. Like, there's a really big fight on whether the government should be able to fund Planned Parenthood because Planned Parenthood is the number one abortion provider in the U.S. So Margaret Sanger was the one who founded Planned Parenthood in the early, like, when it was, I think the early 1900s. But she was a eugenicist.
Okay.
So she believed like that whites were the inferior race.
Inferior.
Oh wait, superior.
Superior,
Sorry. She believed that whites were the superior race, and basically the black population in the U.S. would be double today if it weren't for Planned Parenthood, because the Planned Parenthood disproportionately provides abortions to the black community, so much so that it's almost 50% of black births are aborted. It's 474 per 1,000 live births. And 80%, even to this day, 80% of Planned Parenthoods are in minority neighborhoods.
Wow.
And there's no outcry.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that statistic, to be honest.
I don't.
I'm not surprised.
I agree, and the statistics are just there. Like we can't argue with that.
So I'm gonna read an excerpt from. It's like 2 paragraphs. When they
Right, we're gonna finish it here. I feel like it's getting a bit going off chart, but it's getting a bit. Yeah, man, those charts were interesting. Just even the whole kind of black community thing. Like, I'm really not surprised with that. But yeah, to really understand that kind of the American side of things, I'd have to go away and do my education on that. But that's just it's crazy, man. What you do when you give the public something for free, they just abuse it. Like there isn't a balance. There never will be a balance, man. Like you give someone something for free, like they just take advantage of it all the time. That's why you gotta fucking put your foot down with some people, man. But listen, don't make bad decisions, people. Don't make bad decisions. Like, it's nothing wrong when you're single and you're mingling and you're young and you're experimenting. You're different. You might not even know your own sexuality, so you're experimenting with different people. Like, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's in our nature to have sex. It's a natural thing, but don't abuse it. There's the difference. Don't abuse sex, man. Like, don't be going around sleeping with tons of people. Don't be listening to these young idiot boys on social media that are telling you that sleeping with these women is a thing, and you become a top G if you're sleeping with all these women. Like Andrew Tate, man. Like, don't do it, because number one, okay, you're sleeping with all these women. Oh, I'm an attractive guy. I'm a top G and all this. Yeah, but like most of these women that you're sleeping with, you're gonna end up getting them pregnant. Something's gonna happen. Then you don't want to be a father because you think you're a top G and you're just sleeping with all these women. Like, you haven't planned to be a father, and fatherhood is one of the most important things, man. Being a father, you need a lot of not a lot of training. I'm not going in that direction, but you need to be mature, man. Like, you need to be responsible for your actions. You need to be organized, and if you haven't got any of those skills, then you're screwed. Like, if you're an unorganized man and you're not a responsible man, you're not responsible for your own actions, and you don't take accountability for your actions, what kind of father are you going to be? What kind of skills are you going to be teaching your kid? There's all these things that come into hand, and you got to really think about, what? Is it worth me sleeping with this girl tonight? Or should I just get my ass home and go to the gym in the morning? Do you know what? Let me get my ass home, because imagine if I do sleep with her, we have unprotected sex, and then she's pregnant next 2 weeks. I'm keeping the baby. I'm keeping it. What are you gonna do? You can't do nothing. That's her decision. So guys, I'm telling you, wrap up or strap up. Be careful. That's all I'm gonna say. I ain't gonna go any further than that. Guys, you're your boy Jordan, and I will see you in the next video.